My first frame was inspired by This Is England. This Is England is also a social realism and has become very popular. I decided this shot would open the story and introduce the characters. I made sure my two main characters were positioned in the middle. This was to keep them in the focus because as the story progressed, you'd find out more about them. My second frame is the title of my film. I decided to have this as an intertitle with a simple white font on a black background to show that it's quite important and the audience should read it. I'd seen it used in Fish Tank, A Room for Romeo Brass and London to Brighton, which are all social realisms. For this frame, I used props such as copper coins. I wanted the audience to realise that this person comes from a lower class and she's poor, and by having this over-the-shoulder shot, it gives you a point of view and puts the audience in the position of the character. For this character's name, I wanted to have graffiti on the wall for the title, but obviously I couldn't do this because it's vandalism and we're breaking the law. But I just came to the decision that by using paper with letters on, they look like posters, which had never been taken down. So it sort of reflects the genre of a social realism and establishes the location and introduces a different story behind the character. And it kind of shows this character comes from a poorer background compared to my other character. Whereas my other character comes from a completely different background, so I wanted to show her in a different light. And by having her name on a road sign, it conveys the message that this character is important and offers guidance to people, just like a road sign does. So this is what I established through this character, and which differentiated between the other character. I used a cigarette packet as a prop for this character to give the impression of a lower class, and by angling the camera downwards, it shows the unimportance of this character and her class. I think it suits the genre, and it reflects the conventions of what we associate with the social drama. With this shot, I wanted to frame the house perfectly and give an impact of this character and showing her life in comparison to the other's life and it's how different it is, and kind of going against certain stereotypes you see in a social drama, because usually they're all lower classes, whereas this person clearly isn't from a lower class. She comes from a more middle class. Whereas this shot of Sophie coming back to her house shows complete difference in location, whereas Chloe lives in a massive house, like it's detached, it's all by itself. Sophie lives in a housing estate. It gives an audience an insight into her background, and it's also similar to the houses we see in A Room for Romeo Brass and This Is England, whereas they all live in housing estates and they're not perfect houses, they're a little bit shabby. That's what we expect from a social realism. With my last frame, I had an urgent sticker placed on the envelope, which is also an overlay title, but I wanted the sticker to get enigma code in the audience's mind going. The opening sequence stops here, so it leaves them on quite a cliffhanger, and by having this as the last shot, it invites the audience to wonder what's going to happen next, and therefore leads them to want to watch the rest of the film.